Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host Kalder and This episode, we're going to be talking about the news this week, I guess, if that's what we want to call it. We'll be answering some listener questions and going over the Prince format as that tournament has wrapped play and we have a winner. This is episode 346. Howdy, howdy. Let's get rowdy. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. Use code DIAL5 for 5% off your order. That is DIAL5 for 5% off your order. Joining me, as always, in the studio is the Heroclix heavyweight champion, Simeon Bruce. What's going on, Simeon?
Ooh, heavyweight champion and soon to be the winner of a huge settlement. I'm going to call JG Wentworth because it's my money and I need it now.
Jeez. Oh, gosh. I don't want to go right into the class action lawsuit. Let's start with what made us happy this week instead, and then we can talk about the class action lawsuit, shall we?
It kind of did make me
happy.
What
made you happy?
Oh, jeez. But what made me happy this week was I got to play Clix in real life with some friends, some of the Omaha boys that I haven't seen in a while. And I also got to put together a puzzle, and I haven't done a puzzle in, gosh, probably close to like 15 years or more. It's just not something I really do. But I got the puzzle all the way done, and I was missing two pieces. But, you know, isn't that a fact of life? No matter how accomplished we are, we're still missing a few pieces. And that's okay, everyone. It's okay to be missing a few pieces. You can still put some glue on the back, hang it up somewhere, feel accomplished. It's fine. It was a garbage Pail Kids puzzle, so...
Oh, geez.
Really gross little children.
Kind of fitting that it's missing some pieces then.
Yeah, it might have been on purpose, or the dog might have ate a few. I know I caught him with one, so that's possible. But yeah, super gross little children. Soon to be hanging on one of my walls, so...
Oh, really? You're going to put that up?
Oh, yeah. I don't do puzzles just to put them back in a box. No.
Excuse me.
I mean, this is the first puzzle I've done in a while, so I really honestly don't know what I do with puzzles anymore. But
so were the pieces like half the size of a Heroclix card? Was it like one of them real big puzzles?
No, it was like it was a 1,000-piece puzzle. Not like one of the. I think they make like 10,000-piece puzzles. So there's like much bigger, much more intricate ones.
Yeah.
But there were some like really wonky, kind of difficult pieces to like deal with, and there was a lot of weird mix match colors because there was a lot of stuff going on. It was like a very like I don't know, challenging picture as far as like colors go, but yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just cool. It's fun to like do something that's like, I don't know, it's not exactly relaxing as you're doing like a puzzle for me. I'm like very yeah, but it's very nice, like it's feeling of accomplishment when you get done. You're just like look back and you're like, I completed it, except for the two pieces that are missing.
See, maybe that's like a little bit of a story. Not really, there's no story, it's just missing two pieces, but like you still frame it even though it's missing two pieces. You're gonna glue it together and frame it. That's pretty funny.
Be like, yes, and those two were lost to a dog's stomach. I'll put that like a little
monkey
under it. No,
my guess. Oh no,
Milo.
All right. Okay, gotcha. All right. What made me happy this week? First of all, the garbage pail aesthetic makes sense for Simeon. I can see him liking that for whatever reason. I just feel like that's like something he would actually kind of enjoy.
Hey, you grow up as a garbage pail kid. You can take the garbage pail out of the kid, but you can't take the kid out of the garbage pail.
Jeez, gosh. I was more referencing like Wolverine and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I could see Simeon liking Garbage Pail Kids. That makes sense. All right. What made me happy this week? Kind of what made me happy last week, which is why we recorded the episode on Wednesday last week, released it on the normal time. You guys probably didn't even know that because we're so good at what we do. Wow. But I went down to Florida. I posted about it on our Facebook and our Twitter, and I met with superfan Chance McCall, hung out for a few days, played some Heroclix. We went around the Gainesville area, went around Orlando a little bit, played some Superior, I can still say Superior, Spider-Man and Venom, Absolute Carnage, sealed, and then I bought a Deadpool booster for my other booster. Chance bought a Flash booster for his other booster. I pulled Tiamat, and I still lost that game. It hurt me a little bit on the inside. And we also played it with some Supernova, because you know me, I've always got packs of Supernova. I've got endless packs of freaking Supernova. So I brought like 4 of those down. We played some Supernova sealed as well. It was just great. It was a good time hanging out with the boys, as we call it. We went to the Knockin' Boots bar, where very, very good cowboy bar. And I just got my butt handed to me in pool. Not my fault though, because no one told me what teams we were on. It was very loud, very loud. So the whole night I was shooting the wrong balls in the hole because I thought I was on someone else's team, which was probably making me look like a crazy person or very stupid. Either way, it was a good time of the trip. Probably. Yeah,
At no point was your teammate like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
That's what I'm saying. At no point. There's 3 other people. Chance, his teammate, my teammate. They could have all said, "Hey, you've been shooting like stripes in this whole game. We're solids, right?" You would think at some point in the game, they would tell me. Nope. Guess not. I was lining up shots and I was sinking them. So I was like, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm great at pool. I'm kind of showing off. Nope.
Must
Apparently
be like
not.
a weird Florida thing where they're just like, some sort of weird strategy this guy's got going on. Let's not say anything and see how it works out. Because, every time I've ever played pool, as soon as you sink like the wrong ball, everyone at the table's like, "Oh, geez, what are you doing? You ever played this game before?" Like, they make a very big deal of you like being bad at it.
Yeah. It was little peeved me off. We also met some Florida people, some Florida men, some Florida women. That wow. I'm thankful. Thankful every day I don't live in Florida. Oh man, yikes. Walking around the streets in Gainesville at like 2 a.m. You see some real nice folk down there in Florida. If you're from Florida, no, but I'll get to my 2 quick Heroclix highlights because I've been talking about it for a lot. I met listener to the show, Tyler, and he is just a fan of the show. Recently got into Heroclix. Chance was getting him into Heroclix, and he was like, "Oh, hey, I listened to the show." So we talked about that for a little bit, but it was really cool to meet a listener in real life. Obviously I was there to like meet Chance, who is a listener, but it's like to see another person not at a Heroclix night. That's really cool. Just sort of running into people like that. So I really enjoyed that. That was really sweet. And I'm, glad he's just enjoying the show. Glad he's, listening. It's really sweet. So yeah, shout out to Tyler. And then we went to a physical location of Cool Stuff Inc. We went to a Cool Stuff Inc. store, as you guys saw pictures of, and bought some Heroclix there. I mentioned having a podcast that I was sponsored. I got some pens, so I'll be giving out some pens, some Cool Stuff Inc. pens to our patrons, I guess here. I only got like 5 pens. He just like grabbed me a handful, so that was all right.
Did you like lean in and like put your hand up to your face and be like, "Hey, I'm code dial 5," and he was like, "Ah."
So I was about to say about dial 5. They're computers. So they have computers there. So their store, they don't have a lot of physical product. I mean, they do, but it's all in the back. It's not on display, right? Normally their store has a bunch of just tables in it, and then it has computers. You click on it. I mean, they have a website. This makes sense, right? Like you just buy it all on the website, and then you tell him what order number it is, and then you don't have to sign in or anything to your account. You just tell him what order number it is, and all these computers are built that way. Tell him the order number. He prints your receipt. He's like, "All right, this is your order." They just go in the back and then they just grab it all. So that's really cool. But with the way that website is built on their computers, for some reason, you can't put in a discount code. So the big brain play would have been go on your phone, buy it on your normal account and then just select in-store pickup and then walk in the store. You get the 5% off Dial 5 code. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, sadly, I was not able to whip out the old Dial 5 on them, get the 5% off, but I was able to pick up some figures that I just sort of didn't want to pay shipping for. I more just bought them there for like the novelty of it. Like I didn't need Sharon Carter from Civil War like badly, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. Let's grab some Heroclix. It's fun. So yeah, that was cool. I just enjoyed seeing like a physical cool stuff Inc. store. It was just really neat. And then obviously we stayed the night in Orlando and flew out the next day. It was just a good time. It was a solid Florida trip. I really enjoyed it. All right, that amount of awkward silence means Simeon does not care, and we're going to move on with the show. So let's get right to news. Simeon Bruce, the people of this fine Heroclix community, some of them anyways, they sure are upset. They're upset about the distribution, the price hike, the lack of communication on WizKids' part. What?
Well, you know what, Calder, they should be upset. I'm upset for them. And for the low price of $5,000, I'm willing to represent them in court when I take WizKids to task over this oversight. I'm just completely blown away that a company of this magnitude would have the absolute audacity to just ruin families like they have. I don't want to pretend to be a lawyer anymore. It hurt me on the inside for that small amount of time. I don't want to make a huge deal about this, but it seems like, well, we did mention it on the last episode how there were weird distributions where some people were getting only like 2 super rares per brick, or like they'd get like a double common prime. Like just distribution errors is the only way I can really put it. And the reason why I would call them an error is because as Heroclix collectors, we've kind of gotten used to a certain distribution for cases and bricks. Like sometimes it's different. Sometimes there's like the one-off case where somebody gets a really good like double chase and super rare prime in their case, or they get the opposite where they get like 2 primes and no chase, or like something like that. But those are very like few and far between. It seems in this last set it was noticeable enough that some people have kind of like struck out on their own, and they want to take WizKids to task for it. And I'm not going to fault them for that, because it's a free country. You can do whatever you want, to be honest. If you want to try and make WizKids do something about this to correct their error, then that's fine. At no point anywhere on WizKids product do they guarantee you a chase or prime per brick or case or anything like that. That's just kind of common knowledge that we've come to gather over the years, but it's really like, it's never been a guaranteed thing. So it was always kind of up in the air. Buying sealed product is a gamble. Like, make no mistake about it. This is gambling with like plastic figures. You are gambling that what you are buying in a blind booster is better value than what you can buy on the secondary market, or that it's better value than like what you're paying for it. Because if you get, in most cases, like ABPI, for instance, if I were to get an ABPI, a Thanos Ultra Chase, compared to a Star Brand, those are both technically chases. One of those is definitely worth the money, and the other one won't even like cover the cost of the brick. So
yeah, I mean, the way I think about this is I've never wanted to sue anyone. I've never wanted to take someone to court over anything. I'm a pretty forgiving guy for the most part. Maybe I just haven't been wronged enough in my life. I don't know. But I was number one. Lucky enough, I skipped House of X. Not because of price increase or anything, just because X-Men are just the worst. They suck. But yeah, I did buy one House of X booster. That's going to go up on our YouTube channel later. The Dial H official House of X unboxing. That's what you get. Yeah, on it says it includes 5 pre-painted collectible miniatures. And honestly, it doesn't even say it includes cards for the miniatures. So like technically, if a booster came with no cards, you still are getting what you pay for, like based on like what the box says. Collect all 75 figures. There's 75 figures in the set. It says featuring special team up cards. What I do hate about this booster is that there's no picture of Heroclix and there's no talk about the scale increase. I really hate no Heroclix on the box. That's definitely my new least favorite thing. Just like artist pictures of X-Men. But yeah, like what is our proof, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. Like is there a video recording? Is there an audio file of Kenny Pena saying, yes, in your case, you will get at least one chase in one of the bricks of your case with 3 super rares. And then in the other side, you will get at least the common prime and an uncommon prime, or at least 1 prime, potentially 2 primes, and then maybe 3, potentially 4 super rares. Like that's just, so it sucks because like that's what we're used to. And when something happens that we're not used to, it does throw a wrench. Like it feels wrong. It feels like we've been wronged. And I totally agree. I totally get the upset. I would be mad if I bought into the set and this is like what I pulled. It sucks. There's also talk of people saying like the whatever cards, the team up cards have their own rarity. So like maybe that's what's affecting it. I don't think it affected JLU that much though. I also didn't buy any of that.
Half as many as were in JLU.
It is half as many. That is true. But yeah, there was someone saying like the team up cards might count as another like rare extra thing. So if you just get less super rares, you might have more team up cards. And I don't know what that's been like. You know, no one mentions that when they talk about the distribution in the set. So I don't know. But it is a really crappy thing where you buy a set where the boosters go up $2 a piece and you're literally getting less value. You know, I mean, technically whatever.
Yeah.
The sculpts are goofily big. You're just getting less value, which sucks. So I understand the outrage. I don't know if there are actual legal grounds to sue WizKids. Honestly, like I don't, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about that. I'm no Matt Murdock. She-Hulk.
Yeah, there's definitely legal grounds to try.
Sure. I don't think you're going to win.
Absolutely do not see anybody winning.
I don't see a victory, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, like had WizKids stated like in a brick or case you will receive like this and this, like if they had guaranteed you some sort of value. But honestly, I don't believe at any point they ever guarantee you to even pull a super rare. So if like you bought a entire like 10 cases and all you got were rares, I still think WizKids would be like technically okay. I'm not saying that it's right or that like that's the way that it should be. And I do think that an open communication line with WizKids would be great so that we could bring these like grievances to them and they could make better or like make reprimands or whatever they need to do. Like they would be able to have an opportunity to fix this kind of thing. But sadly, there's been pretty much zero communication on WizKids as far as this goes.
That's what upsets me the most. I would say the no communication. They could be like, oh, sorry, the factory workers, whatever, got the wrong print off sheet, or there was a typo for however, I don't know how these, I assume they're like hand packed. Maybe they aren't. I don't know. But like honestly, the boosters, someone's stuffing them in there, right? And they've got like just probably bins of figures in car. I don't know how they do this, honestly. It doesn't seem like there's an easy factory way to do it, but you know, like I don't know how a golf ball is made. And then I see how it's made. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You know, so like I don't know. I clearly have no idea.
So simple, so simple to make golf.
So simple. When you put it that way, you know. Can we get a how it's made on Heroclix? Maybe it is like booster randomized machine. I don't feel like it is, but maybe. It'd be a cool process to watch. No, but yeah, like maybe people just got the wrong sheets. Maybe like there's like an uncommon guy, a common guy, and the super rare guy was just kind of half-assed doing his job that day. He's like, nah. Hey, common guy. Yeah, give me another common. Slap that in there. Give your card for it.
The guy that was in charge of super rares was like, I'm going on break, cover my shift. And the guy was like, all I've ever done is commons and uncommons. What do I do? Which one's the super rare? And just starts like jamming more Jean Greys and Cyclopses in there.
There it is.
Then they forgot the bin of... Apparently there's also like weird distribution on the common Wolverine. Like he just hasn't been very common like in bricks and stuff. But no, I think
the new common guy hates Wolverine. They got a new common guy in. He hates Wolverine.
That's impossible to hate Wolverine. He's so
That's
lovable.
true. He's literally like the favorited X-Men out of like all of them.
Even just WizKids saying like, "Hey guys, we hear what you're saying. We'll look into it and like get back to you." That would be worth like a lot. Just them saying like, "Hey, we don't hand pack these with our 25 employees or whatever. We don't hand pack these boosters. This is not on us, but we'll get with like our distributor and our like manufacturer and stuff and try and figure out what's going on so it doesn't happen again." That would be worth it. But like we haven't even gotten that. And I think that's like the worst part is just like a simple message like letting us know like we're not just chattel that are feeding the WizKids funding for more product, and that like we actually have some sort of stance with this company. Because truly, like if you wanted to think of it as like a publicly shared company, there's only about like 10,000 of us Heroclix players that are active. Probably, I don't know, maybe I'm shooting a little low, but maybe I feel like 10,000's like roughly correct in the world. If each of us had like one share, there would be, I don't know, I think at least 5% right now that are really like worried with the direction that the company's going in. And like 5%'s a lot of like a publicly traded company. WizKids isn't, but in this weird thing I'm creating.
I wonder if NECA is. That could be potential. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So you're saying we should sue NECA instead? It's what we're not shooting high enough. No, very strange.
This comes to my main problem is I don't want to like. I also conflict of interest might be I don't want to sue the company that makes this game that I like, unless like they're like I don't want to put them out of business.
Yeah, that's
which I don't think
also true.
That would. But like
best case
I want them to straighten up
and you suing them.
I want them to get their act together.
Yeah. Best case scenario and you suing them is you don't win, because if you do and it sets WizKids back financially to the like point where maybe like the next set or like they have to like start implementing something to correct this and it costs them too much money and then they can't release sets, and then eventually like 2 years down the line they're just like barrels are empty, they're completely out of funds. That's not a good scenario either. But it's very interesting to say the least.
For sure. So I guess the way I'm going to cap it off is, this might be just the end of a general House of X thing. Overall, to release the price increase with terrible coalition distribution, whatever you want to call it, reusing rare sculpts for super rare sculpts, the new sculpts not really being that dynamic, bigger for sure, but this was just overall a bad set to increase the price on. And I hope that sets going forward that have better sculpts, the newer sculpts that have a price increase, are just better sets in general, with distribution, with everything, with sculpt reuse, with whatever, right? So, and I have no doubt that it cost WizKids more money to make these new sculpts. It obviously did, because they're charging us more. But then they also reuse rare sculpts, which sucks. So, like, this whole fiasco, this whole lawsuit, all of this could have been avoided. They would have just made it like a normal set and just had bigger sculpts. That's all they needed to do. Well, so it really sucks.
They didn't just reuse as I've said before, I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but the super rare sculpts being reused as rares is not a problem. What the problem is in this set specifically is it wasn't super rare sculpts being reused as rare sculpts for the most part. I think Nightcrawler and Cardinal, you could like argue that was a super rare reused. Fair, but like North and Magneto, that is like an uncommon sculpt, or at best a rare sculpt. Havoc, that sculpt is from Wolverine and the X-Men. Like, 1-to-1 complete reuse of Wolverine and the X-Men sculpt, which was reused in 2017 as an LE. And now it's being reused again. Like, Havoc has so many interesting things that he's done in comics and stuff. We don't need the exact same sculpt 3 times over... Geez, when did Wolverine and the X-Men come out? Like, a while ago.
2013?
Yeah, 2013.
A while ago.
Almost 8 years ago? Yeah, like, I mean, give or take. A couple months.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really don't, like, we could have done better for Havoc. Like, do some chest laser, do some fist laser, do something.
Yeah, man. Laser something. Just laser them. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's enough. Yeah, no, finish your final thoughts, but I think I'm done talking about House of X class action lawsuit.
Final thoughts for me, when it comes to House of X, I really think that this is just a slip up. They were, and I might be giving them a little bit too much benefit, but I truly think that this was just a slight error on WizKids' part. I think they were going to go with this larger sculpt and more dynamic poses and stuff, and they tried to shove it into House of X when half of the set was already done. So half of it looks really crazy good, like Juggernaut, Apocalypse, Nightcrawler.
Oh yeah,
some of it looks super awesome, and then some of it just falls really short. And I think going forwards, especially like looking at some of the stuff from Future Foundation and Wonder Woman, I think some of it's going to get a lot better. That's just me being mostly hopeful, but I truly think that this might have just been like a hiccup in them transitioning, and I'm going to give them a little bit of benefit to, hopefully they are just in transition right now, and it's going to get a lot better, because truly, I do think that at best, this set is a flop. It's definitely not like an intentional flop, but man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Makes me happy. Simeon, the X-Men fan of the show, admitting defeat of the X-Men set sucks. Yes. Yes. Power! Unlimited power! Let that hatred flow through you! I love this. Big fan of the hate on the X-Men set. All right. Let's move on. I'm going to do a quick shout. Before we talk about the Prince tournament, I'm going to do a quick shout out to another tournament. JSAclix on Facebook. You can find, they have a discussion group, and then they have a normal, just like, page that you can go like. Their podcast, I think we mentioned them before. Their podcast, they're probably on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. Jay Solomon being the host. So it's JSAclix. So J is in James, S is in Sally, A is in apricot. Clix, there could have been a better word for that. Anyways, they're doing a charity event, and I just saw this post. I don't know the details of the event. I think more will be released later. But he said, as previously mentioned, working on putting together a charity event for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So pretty solid cause, I would say. We are also announcing the format is going to be online sealed, with the set being Captain America and the Avengers. Big fan of that. I like that Canadian Jay Solomon is doing that. He says, we'll be using a virtual pack system developed by Jay Patel. So the boosters have been programmed with an algorithm for the pack's content. We want to be absolutely clear that nobody will be getting physical product, just playing in a sealed format. So hopefully it has a normal price and not a sealed price, because you're not getting any product. So hopefully it's a pretty low $10 or something cost of entry. And then he says, Jay has received a Spider-Man 76. It's an extra, and it will be going into the prize pool along with lots of other prizing. They also have prizing that will be throwing in if they hit a certain point of money raised. He said we have King's Tomb Blood variant, a JLU Chase Prime set, which Jay himself is throwing in. And he said, if you want to donate, get in contact with him, and they'll figure out the details when the event is up and ready to go. So the event's new, but just sort of keep it on your mind. Go listen to JSA podcast, go like the page, keep up with the event. Pretty cool guys. Jay Chat and whoever else is on that show. Mine's blanked right now, but and Devin and
Adam
other people were on there.
Friedman's
But anyway,
there. Yeah, Devin Owens and Devin Adams have both been on there.
So Jay's doing pretty cool things over there. His memes are pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie. They're not all winners. They're pretty rough. I'll say that. But I like Jay, and don't like message Jay like you did Chad, guys. By the way, we love Chad. We just didn't think he listened. People. I know people in real life that love like that I do the show and know I do the show and just don't listen, because some people just don't listen to podcasts, and that's okay.
I truly just thought Chad was too busy making TikTok videos because he's so thick that like what else could he do for a living? Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like we love Chad Birdsall. Let me tell you something. If we don't talk about him on the podcast, those are people we hate. You know, I talk about Chad because he's a funny guy. You know, I don't talk about like, well, I shouldn't name anybody I don't like. That's bad. Yeah. It's a bad idea. But anyways,
well, if we don't talk about him, let's just name off all the people we like right now. Chad Birdsall, Devin Adams,
Devin Owen, all right guy. You know,
let's
could
just
have
end it right there. That's it. And you listeners, that's it.
People we like. Well, yeah, of course you like the listeners. Unless Tom Kerr is listening, in which case I hate that. No, I love Tom Kerr. Tom Kerr is such a cool guy to talk to. No Facebook though. Negative points on the no Facebook. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Check out the event. Didn't mean it turned into such rabble rousing or whatever. But seriously, guys, leave Chad Birdsall alone. Don't message him about this. We love Chad. Genuinely, also, this is not sarcasm.
Whoever this new Bimmy and Sroos guy is on our Discord, just a really cool guy. Bimmy and Sroos, pretty cool guy. Yeah, whoever that is.
He's starting. Good old Bimmy and Sroos, huh? He's starting some fire. He's starting some rivalries that do not exist. He's calling some people out. Pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I'm enjoying that on our Discord. All right. That's all. I just wanted to mention Jay's tournament. It seems cool. I'll probably play. It's Captain America sealed. I had terrible luck with Captain America sealed in real life. Maybe it'll change me online. I don't know. We'll see. Simeon, do you want to talk about the Prince tournament wrapping up really quickly before we move into community?
Yeah. So going from a tournament ran by someone who has no idea how tournaments ran to someone who absolutely does. So the Prince tournament has wrapped up as far as what I'm going to call like the actual tournament portion. We do have the lower bracket still getting underway, and so that we'll be able to update that later. The actual tournament we had, let me just go to our, I don't think I listed the top 4. So the top 8 in ranking order was Lucas Tom Van Holland, Colin Bell in second going in. That was a coin toss. Colin Bell also, so they were both 3-0 with 900 points. So that was a coin toss to see who was in first and second. Third was Matthew DePaz, just slightly behind with also a 3-0 record. Fourth was Caleb Reddick. Fifth was Stephen Bombera. Sixth was PJ Bolin. 7 was Zach Pogany. And 8th was Eric Mulheron. Our top 4, the ones that moved on from single elimination, was Lucas Tom Van Holland, Caleb Reddick, PJ Bolin, and Colin Bell. And then from there, it was Lucas Tom Van Holland versus PJ Bolin. 2 people that I think haven't really made a name for themselves in Heroclix. So it's cool that this tournament has really, raised them up. Maybe a few people will like see these names and be like, oh wow, maybe those players aren't too bad. And this is what that tournament's really about.
I bet they caught the attention of some high level teams. They might be on a competitive team here in the future. I bet they'll get recruited.
If I ever resurrect the Sonic Pest team, Sonic Pest would be more than happy to invite PJ Bolin or Lucas Tom Van Holland to join. Ed Shelton can join too. You know what? He wasn't in the tournament, but I'll throw his name out there. If he wants to join Sonic Pest, it's a homebrew team. But
you're such a nice guy, man. What a guy.
Prince tournament winner, proving that money makes the difference. Lucas Tom Van Holland takes home the win, and I think it's only fair. Let me double check and share what his team total build cost?
It's all
Let's
about
see
money.
here. Yeah, because clearly, I mean,
Shayna money, money, money. I'm sure Simeon totally
from the
edit
top
that
rope
in.
elbow drop. So Lucas Tom Van Holland
From the top of Hell in a Cell elbow drop, baby.
let me go from the top down. So the highest team build that we had was almost $1,400. And then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 builds that had more expenditures than Lucas's build. So his came in at 873 points. He sent me his build, and I said, "Do you have a sideline?" And he said, sure. And then sent me his sideline. So clearly a very well thought out build. He ran a truly destructive team. So his team was God Emperor Doom, double Sheriff Strange. So Lucas's full build was God Emperor Doom, Valeria Von Doom, Franklin Von Doom, and then double Sheriff Strange for an even 300 points. A very simple build, but I think it's got like 2 outwits potentially. It's got a double perplex from God Emperor Doom, a double perplex from each Sheriff Strange. So God Emperor Doom, of course, rocking that for 100 points, rocking that 12 attack, 4 damage pulse wave. Valeria Von Doom also has a perplex, and among other little kind of fun things she can do. Just an absolute ton of utility in this build. And really, it's I'd call this almost like a tentpole build, but even then, it doesn't really have to be, because Sheriff Stranges they're no slouch. They've both got stop clicks. They've both got range combat expert and some other random stuff that they can do. Franklin turns into a monster if you try and deal with him early. There's a ton of utility.
It needs Doom right away for a good schmacking, but I mean, with all the perplexes, anybody can hit pretty hard in that team, especially if the opponent makes a mistake of putting Franklin on his whatever clicks,
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, that's basically it. God Emperor Doom can get perplexed up to a +3 attack, +3 damage, and then potentially single target pulse wave. Franklin can drop some terrain to help with that. I have no idea what his actual strategy was going in, but I mean, clearly Sheriff Strange is still somewhat viable, even without ID cards in the meta. But yeah, just a really solid kind of battle world thing going on, and just really proves to me that had money been an issue, Lucas, he's not won any tournaments before. It's not like Lucas's name goes to the top charts over and over and over again.
Never happens. Never.
So yeah, it was a
totally.
It was a really good thing that we weeded out all the rabble rousers so that Lucas could finally win something, because he wasn't dominating the beginning of 2020. Adam Freeman might have gotten the last 2 wins, but Lucas got the first 35. So
for sure.
Starting 2021 off real strong there, old LVTH.
He won the first official bigger sized tournament in 2020, the first official tournament of the year since Class of X didn't happen, and then the energy drink tournament hasn't taken place yet. So yeah, Lucas won the first sort of big online tournament. I'll say sort of big. 20 people is pretty solid, pretty respectable for online. So yeah, absolutely. All right, that's Prince. That's wrapped up. Let's go ahead and jump into community.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
We've got some listener questions that I'm pretty excited to answer. If you follow us on Twitter, a follower of ours, HC Cosmic, so I assume it's Heroclix Cosmic, is asking a ton of questions for not just Dial H, but asking them for Mr. Clix Flix, Mr. Clixo, a lot of misters. I guess we're all misters, aren't we? Except for those that are and Mrs. Anyways, or doctors. Anyways, I just realized there's Mr. Clix Flix.
Casual.
And then,
Who's casual Clixing on Twitter?
Casual Clixing may or may not just be like someone that posts a lot on Twitter. I don't know if they have a YouTube channel or not, honestly. But he's mentioned us a few times as well. So if you want to see quite a few questions, check that out on Twitter. He's asked some solid questions. We're going to answer one of them on the podcast, and we'll maybe try to save one each week to answer on the podcast, because he is asking a lot of questions on Twitter, and it'd be hard to like do full episodes of all of those. So we're just going to do this one real quick, and that is,
what is the first Heroclix product you ever got? The
there you go.
Part is, what really got you interested into Heroclix? So I'll go first. The first Heroclix product I ever got was a gravity feed booster pack, so like a single figure booster pack of the Flash set. I was like, hey, I kind of like the Flash, and this was when I had like some expendable money. I was like fresh in the middle of college, I guess, but I had some decent savings, and I really wanted to start like nerding out my apartment. So I was like, I kind of want to get some statues, some action figures, stuff like that. But I was looking for alternatives, because action figures can really take up a ton of space, and apartments are kind of small, and statues just run way too much for like a single statue. You have to be like really selective, and you have to buy them at the right time and stuff like that. And so I was being very selective, and this is also when I was at the height of my comic pull list. I was getting like 14 comics every week. So every month was just a ton of stuff was happening. This was I think 2016, 2015 maybe. But this was when the Flash set was new. So the gravity feeds were out. I was checking out, grabbing my pull list, and I was like, hey, what's this? And the guy was like, oh, they're pre-painted miniatures for like this game called Heroclix. And I was like, but they're basically like little statues, right? And he was like, I guess if you're stupid and that's what you think they are. And I was like, I am stupid. I do think they are tiny statues. And he was like, go ahead and buy them then, see what happens. And so I bought one thinking I would get the Flash, because there was a lot of Flash on the outside of that booster. And instead I pulled good old gravity feed Max Mercury, to which I said, who is this? Why is this what I pulled? So I wasn't like super ecstatic about the first product I ever got. But what really got me interested into Heroclix was after I bought that first one, I went home and I like Googled, I eBayed, I was looking all over, and there was tons of like really cool older sculpts that weren't super expensive. So some of the old Doomsdays like really caught my eye. The fact that there was an entire set, Wolverine and the X-Men, that I was like, oh yeah, I could just get all of those. And then I've got all of these figures, and not only are they figures that I really care about and I read stories about, they also very rarely, a lot of these like smaller time figures, they very rarely ever get made into action figures, and definitely don't get made into statues. Like Korvac. Definitely never made into a statue, maybe an action figure here or there. But yeah, after that, after I started collecting those for that reason, I got into the game, and, you know, the rest is history.
All right, right on. The product that I first bought was a Avengers 2012 movie starter set, and then in that same order, I got like 2 packs of Street Fighter Clix, the little cardboard box ones, and then I got 2 packs, maybe just 1 booster, something of the original Captain America set. So the Avengers starter was awesome. I played the heck out of the Stark Tower map, and I forget what's on the other side, but I played the heck out of that map too. It's just, he's barely holding together. Played those map a lot. Played the heck out of that Captain America. He was just called the first Avenger. Played him a ton. I loved that Avengers starter. Did not care for the dice, obviously, little crappy little dice. And then the Captain America booster, my rare was Mr. Immortal. I got Slingshot. I got Batroc Lippe. And I don't know who the last 2 figures were. I don't really remember. Sadly, but that's pretty good booster memory. 3 out of 5, I think, was great. For my Street Fighter Clix, they were both Ken, and this probably is what cemented Ken as like one of my favorite Street Fighter characters. It was the yellow gi Ken with Hadouken, and then the red gi Ken with the kick, which is just a cool sculpt. And I still have the red gi Ken with doing the kick, the Hazapuga Yuga, whatever it's called. I don't know idea. But this definitely is what cemented like me preferring Ken to Ryu. Was just like him, like getting him in that booster. I was like, oh yeah, dude, Ken's way cooler than Ryu. He's got a freaking American flag on the back of his card. This is awesome. This dude slaps. So that was my first product. I knew what Heroclix was. I ordered these online from toywiz.com. I wouldn't recommend them for Heroclix. Honestly, they're very expensive, but they do still sell Heroclix on there. I knew what they were thanks to Glass Cabinet Hobbies. I mentioned this on the show before. I used to watch his YouTube channel a lot. For like mini-mate and action figure unboxings, and then I like Heroclix. What's that? And like the thumbnail is like a bunch of little figures. So not gonna lie, I thought Heroclix were like way smaller than they actually were. I don't know if he just has real big hands or something. Whatever is up with Ryan Morgan. But I got him and I'm like, oh, these figures are actually kind of big. Cool. So like that was neat. And then playing the game, I didn't learn how to like properly play this game until like 2 years in. I was just like playing however. It didn't come with action tokens, so I just didn't use them, which is why I'm so glad that action token packs exist. Like it says in the rules, get pennies or pebbles or something to use as an action token to show when a character is in action. I'm like, well, if action tokens were that important, they would have given them to me, so I just didn't use them. You know, first Heroclix like night I go to, this guy's like, all right, you guys did actions, gonna give him tokens? I'm like, nope, they didn't give me any, so I'm not gonna use them. And he's like, yep, nope, that's illegal. Here you go. So I got some action tokens, stuff like that. What made me like really, yeah, I know, right? Blatant cheating. What just got me into the game more than anything was just like superheroes. They're cool. Like I just like them. They're just neat. I just think they're neat. You know, like that's totally it. It wasn't some like big started playing. It was like, whoa, addicted. It was just cool to like play with people, not play in my basement anymore. I mean, I had a pretty good collection going. I just liked them because they were just little miniatures. That was really all I liked. I just liked action figures, like toys. So I'm like, all right, buy some Heroclix. It's a pretty simple story, but I liked that adventure starter set. Played that Cap to death. You know, every single team he was on it. I honestly probably only played those other figures like once or twice in that adventure starter set, but that Cap figure I played just a ton.
I will say that for the most part, Heroclix is also a very self-selecting crowd, whereas with Magic or like Yu-Gi-Oh or other collectible games that are pretty popular, you can get like a wide variety of people that have like different interests and stuff. But for the most part, Heroclix players like comics and they like superheroes. I don't know anyone that plays Heroclix and is like, ugh, comics, what are those? Like, you know, you kind of have to enjoy, and I mean, you might sway to Marvel or DC or, you know, something like that, but very few people are going to not like one of the properties. They're definitely not going to dislike both properties for the like. Right. I mean, I don't know how you would play this game if you didn't like either Marvel or DC. I like both. I prefer Image, but of course, like, you know, it's been a long time since we've had any Image Heroclix. But yeah, it's cool to, because like, look, if you're in a comic
I like
shop,
both, and I prefer Archie. But here we are.
If you're in a comic shop, you can kind of strike up like random conversations with people, but when you're playing a Heroclix game, like, you're definitely already talking to somebody. So you're just like with your peers, people that enjoy comics and like nerd culture. And not saying that like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic players don't have that, but if your interest is specifically comics and like superheroes, Magic like might not also be like, you know, in that kind of tier. You might be like, yeah, I feel like read that new Wolverine.
Heroclix lends itself to a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because just, like when you play Yu-Gi-Oh, like, you just sort of play Yu-Gi-Oh, or like you just play Magic. I guess we can talk about Magic. Like Heroclix, you can talk about the comics, the movies, whatever, you know, which can lead into all sorts of different stuff. You can talk about wrestling, you know, just that's what's great about Heroclix is the amount of different properties it has, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to move on to the second question here, Simeon, of the night.
Oh yeah.
We have an email from Will Smith. Sadly, we don't know if it is the Will Smith or if it's just Will Smith.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is.
But it's a Will Smith.
If he takes a part playing Moon Knight in a future movie, then we know for sure This is the Will Smith.
Yeah, that'll really tell us. He says, "Hey, Dial H for Heroclix. What are your guys' thoughts on the old Heroclix scenario packs from stuff like Fear Itself and War of Light? Do you think they should make scenario packs again that are separate from starter sets that have scenarios in them?" This is an interesting question. Obviously, if you guys have been playing Heroclix the past year, sort of been paying attention to the starters, the Masters of Evil starter, the Fantastic Four starter, and now the Wonder Woman starter, as long as the JLU starter, those all had scenario packs lumped in. I think that's fine. I think what they're doing is good. I don't play scenarios that much. Even when I was by myself and didn't have anyone to play HeroClix in out on the ranch, I couldn't play the scenarios because the scenarios they gave me, what was the starter? It was Iron Man and Split Lip and then a bunch of Pogs. And it was you couldn't play 90% of the scenarios because you needed other figures from the set, or at least some version of them. Play Kurth or some Juggernaut. And I'm like, I don't have a Juggernaut, so, and if Curse not Juggernaut, sorry, excuse me. Okay, it is. All right, cool. I didn't have the figures, and that's why these starter sets are great, because it gives you the Pogs and all the figures you need. So really, these starter sets aren't necessarily starter sets; they're just better filled out scenario packs, So I like it. I think this is the perfect way to do it. It gives you all the figures. It doesn't say oh, you also need something from somewhere else. Good luck finding it. I think these scenarios are perfect. It gives you plenty of scenarios to do. All the scenarios build off of each other depending on the outcome, which is really cool. I haven't played any. Honestly, you should probably do it with the Avengers Massive Evil, because otherwise you're never going to play those Pogs. So why not? So yeah, I like these starter sets. I think this is the perfect way to do it. As far as if they were to make them separate, I wouldn't mind, I guess, a scenario card in a booster that's separate, and then that way, just because then you can make it a bigger thing. So now it's not, I guess now we would say it's limited to just the figures in that starter. Then you're oh man. So that could also be cool. But then once again, it goes back to the same thing. You have to find them, track down all the figures, whatever. So it kind of depends. But I think where they are right now, I think it's perfect for scenario packs. I think it's great. Simeon?
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with any of that. I think Fear Itself and War of Light had a lot more emphasis on bystanders, and then these newer ones are they still have bystanders, but it's way more emphasis on the main set figures that they give you, like Silver Surfer, Doom, whatever kind of stuff. And so I'm gonna liken it to Call of Duty, how there's a campaign and a multiplayer, but some people really are only in it for the multiplayer. So for those people, the scenario packs, quote unquote campaign, doesn't matter. They just want to play with multiple people. They just want to play the game, the multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
The campaign is still really fun. The main story is really fun. You can't really play it multiple times and have the same experience as you will the first time. It gets kind of old if you replay it too many times. But these campaigns are really awesome for one or two sessions. It's really fun to do it once or twice. Sure. I'm not going to say that it's necessary to do. I will say in Call of Duty, I don't know why you would buy a game and then not play the story that they provide you. It seems silly, but
that's what I would say.
When it comes to HeroClix, I kind of understand it. Some of the scenarios just seem I've looked at a few, I'll set them up and then I'll look at it and I'm I don't want to do that. That's just, it's you won't be able to damage any of the opponents. You just have to get across the board to the other side. And I'm no. But
that's a little funky.
As far as additional, I don't know how I feel about additional scenarios in booster packs. I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel if you're somebody that's already really into scenarios, you're not going to want to buy a bunch of booster packs or hunt those down. But at the same time, it would be really cool.
Then it's get into team-up card levels of annoying to collect.
It would be cool, however, if you pulled a booster that had super rare this, uncommon. If it I pulled a booster pack for House of X that was all Marauders. It was 5 out of the 7 Marauders in the set in that booster pack. That was a cool booster pack. would have been neat if that was like, if there was a campaign or scenario card in there that was like, the Marauders need to hide from the X-Men. I don't know, something like that. And it was like some sort of like weird like stealth mission where like they had to get by into like the X mansion or something. I don't know. That would be cool and thematic if you're already going to pull the pack. It'd be a little annoying if you're like a just general collector. But I could see, I mean, scenario cards clearly wouldn't have the same pull as team up cards because they're clearly not like a competitive thing. So I don't think they'd be super expensive, but yeah, it could be interesting if they catered to what the booster already has in it, I guess.
Faux shizzle. And then I think that'll bring us to our last listener question. This is on our Discord channel. It is by Bimian Sroos, the God. Question for the show. With mutants, this is kind of non-Heroclix related, but it'll still be a fun question here. With mutants confirmed for the MCU, who would you cast as the original, this is in quotation marks, original X-Men, and then Magneto? And then he's got a quick follow-up with how do you think they'll be introduced. So Simeon, let's just take turns, I would say, casting our X-Men. Do you want to go first? I'll try to do, if I have that character who I think is on the original X-Men, then I'll just say that version of that character. If not, we'll just keep going. Simeon, go for it.
Okay. So I think we both agreed in this one. We were kind of talking before the show. My first pick is for Colossus, and I just said the person from Deadpool, because that was, I mean, as far as Colossus that's shown up on film, that's my favorite one so far. They never showed him not in armor, but I just, I really liked the one from Deadpool.
Down, I did agree with you on that. However, I did write down I would like Colossus to be played by Rusev, aka Mirio, the wrestler. Look him up.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he's good for Colossus at all, but he is Russian, that's for sure.
That is a WWE fact, at least.
Yes. Well, it's an AEW fact now.
Yeah.
All right. Who else are you going to cast there, Simeon?
All right. I don't want to do... I'll do my Magneto last. I went with Professor X. I said Bryan Cranston. Not for any specific reason, but Bryan Cranston's just really been... He was kind of like a slow burner, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I knew him, he was like Seinfeld, Malcolm in the Middle, some cameos here, like some small like roles. And then he just, the last couple years, he's just been knocking it out of the park with different like shows and stuff. So of course, like Breaking Bad, he was Walter White, I think his name was. He's in Your Honor, which is a new, I think it's Netflix. I just started it, so I can't remember exactly. He does a really good, I mean, he's just like an incredible actor for one. He's just got like a ton of range. He can do pretty much any kind of character as far as what I've seen. So maybe I'm just giving him like way too much credit, but I think he could just knock anything out of the park. And I'd like to see a darker Professor X, like a Professor X where like maybe you don't 100% trust his motives. There's been parts in the comics where Cyclops is like, do I really want to be on this team, or did Professor X just plant in my mind that I will always be on this team, and that's like my calling from now on, and I can't do anything else because yeah. So it's a very cerebral like role. And in my opinion, I just think Bryan Cranston would really knock it out of the park if they went with like that kind of like Professor X isn't this altruistic like home for orphans kind of thing. He's he's making super soldiers. Well,
yeah, you're not wrong. My Professor X is a tie, leaning a little more towards one way. It's a tie between Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think would be hilarious to see as Professor X.
Jeez. I'm trying to imagine a professor rolling up with his like wheelchair to a door, but then also kicking it open like Goldberg would. Or like rolling into battle against somebody and then Wolverine tosses him 2 beers.
Beers. Yeah, exactly. Wolverine, my beers. Send him the little telekinetic message there.
My powers are activated by slight intoxication. Yes.
Yeah, man. We've had a Professor X, James McAvoy, struggled with like drugs. He can struggle with alcohol abuse. I'm okay with that. All right. Great casting. I'm loving it so far.
So far, pretty awesome. I'll go with my Cyclops pick. So my most boring pick, the most generic person you can ever pick. Anybody works for Cyclops. Is it a random dude? Then yes, it can be Cyclops. I went with Jensen Ackles. So that is it. For those of you that don't know, that's Dean Winchester from the Supernatural series. He's been in other things. He's apparently cast as Soldier Boy in The Boys, which will be a very sad and I don't know. It's just going to be a very disappointing way to look at him for me, because he's been in Supernatural for so long, and then he's going to be like this super loser in The Boys. But yeah, Jensen's got the right look. He's just like, chiseled jaw, leader type kind of face. Very like generic pretty boy, which is exactly what Scott Summers is. Just super generic pretty boy, man. Yeah.
I originally had Scott Porter written down for Cyclops. I think he would be a fine Cyclops as well. But I have to give it to a member of the Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong. I think would make a really good Cyclops. If you don't know who Roderick Strong is, you got to watch some more NXT. But he is very much. He's got, I think, the least beard out of anyone in the Undisputed Era in that group. And I think if you shaved it, he's got just kind of just brown haired, kind of just regular dude. So I think Roderick Strong would be a fine Cyclops.
Okay. Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah.
All right. My next one I put down for Storm. This one doesn't make any sense because she's already in the MCU, but I put down Zendaya, the, I guess, quote unquote, MJ from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
She's not really MJ, but kind of.
You think she should be Storm?
Well, I don't know, because the hard thing for me is envisioning how the X-Men are coming into the MCU. If they're like transferring from a different universe and they're like these old grizzled heroes, then she doesn't work at all. But if they're gonna like try and create them mid-universe, then it makes a lot more sense to me, because she's really young and I think she's got a lot of range in her. She can kind of like, clearly not the same character as MJ, like being transferred onto Storm, just the same actress. Right. But I think, yeah. I actually really liked the lady that they picked for the X-Men Apocalypse and whichever one was right before that.
Was good, actually. She was good. Dark Saga, Days of Future Past.
Not
I don't know if she was
nearly enough screen time, but yeah.
Yeah, she was good. My Storm pick goes to Naomi of WWE fame. Feel the Glow. Yep. I think she'd make a great Storm. I think she'd be awesome.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So following up with that, my rogue.
Anyone sensing a pattern?
No. Anyway, pattern.
Keep going, Simeon.
They're all mutants as far as I've listed them off so far.
Yeah.
My rogue pick is Dolly Parton a la 1980. So
Ooh.
For this one, we need a time machine to go back in time, bring Dolly Parton from 1980s to modern day, and cast her as Rogue. So this is 100% because of the Southern charm accent. I don't think they've quite nailed that with Rogue. I know it exists. I've heard of it. Dolly Parton definitely has it if you've watched any of her older films. But yeah, apparently Hollywood just like put a kibosh on that, and they're not doing Southern accents anymore or something. I don't know.
Potentially. I do not have a Rogue on my team. But let me see. Simeon, do you have a Thunderbird on your team?
I do not, no.
Okay, so this is where I'll throw in my Thunderbird pick. Thunderbird is going to have to go to none other than Tatanka, a.k.a. Chris Chavis. If you don't know, Tatanka is, I think it's Lakota. I might be wrong, for Buffalo. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Chris Chavis is his real name. I think he'd be great. Most Native American roles in Hollywood seem to always go to Adam Beach, and I got nothing against Adam Beach, right? Adam Beach is cool. He was Slipknot or whatever, and I kind of almost wanted to cast him as Thunderbird just because he got such a crappy deal for being
no Taylor Lautner.
Oh yeah, I guess
Jacob, keep your
I
shirt
guess so.
on.
I forgot. That's right. That is him. You're right. I forgot about that. But to me, Adam Beach seems to always be the go-to guy they get for Native American actors. He was also Danny Moonstar's father in New Mutants, for anyone that saw New Mutants.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I had to give it to Tonka for sure for Thunderbird. I think he's got the size that we're looking for Thunderbird, and that would just be cool. Because, okay, no offense to Adam Beach, they'd have to get him on some mass gainer. They'd have to get him on a regimen. And, a little bit of the Hollywood super use, a little bit of PED use probably to get him into Thunderbird shape.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Next pick here.
Next pick is going to go for Jean Grey. I don't think they've ever done her justice, really, like in any medium other than comics. She's a very cool character in the comics. A lot of like interesting, like different stuff that goes on between like Madeline Pryor or like the Inner Circle or whatever. But man, even in like the cartoons and stuff, they kind of just like blah. It's just like boring. Anytime Jean's on, you're like, oh, there's her. So I put Felicia Day. I don't know if I'm going to say like she's a great actress, but she's not a terrible actress. So I will say that. I'm not going to say that like she would knock it out of the park, but I think that she would definitely pull it off. I don't know. It also depends a lot on like how they wrote the character to whether or not it fit her. But when I think of Jean, I don't think of like this like really like quiet like teacher type, which is how like she's been portrayed in most of the movies that she's been in, or just like this girl that's having like a midlife crisis and like goes crazy. Also a terrible way to portray it, but yeah.
I do not have a Jean Grey on my team. I'm very much doing the giant size X-Men team. The only female wrestler that has red hair that I can think of, I would not want to be Jean Grey in a movie.
Becky Lynch?
I guess that would
be
Becky Lynch. Yeah, that's her.
Now that you say that, I think she'd be perfect, Calder.
I don't know. I'm Jean Grey. That's not even how she sounds. Sorry. I'm the man. I'm the man.
Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She might be able to. I guarantee she probably adds a bit of. No, I've met her in real life. She doesn't add any brogue unless she did that for us, the fans, to keep the kayfabe alive. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that's the only one I can think. That's the only one I can think of. So I guess she's my Jean Grey. I didn't have it written down, but Becky Lynch is Jean Grey, I suppose, or Eva Marie would be fine too. I guess. All right, Simeon.
All right, getting into the more interesting characters, Nightcrawler. For Nightcrawler, I put down Ezra Miller. So it's half because it's the only guy that I could think of that's like really wiry looking. Like he looks like he'd be hard to keep in one place. Like he could just like poof around. Also because they seem to like to portray Nightcrawler as like a really creepy little dude who like doesn't talk to people a lot, and that's kind of how I picture Ezra Miller in real life. So I think it'd be easy for him to pull off what they already want Nightcrawler to be.
He's really not that creepy. He's such a nice guy. Nightcrawler's such a nice dude. He's really not like a creepy dude that just doesn't talk. That's the way he's portrayed in movies. Personally, big fan of X-Men Evolution Nightcrawler. Probably one of my favorite versions of Nightcrawler. Loved. I don't know if you watched X-Men Evolution, Simeon. It's all on Disney Plus. Worth a rewatch, I would say. Really love that show. That's probably one of my favorite X-Men shows.
There's a lot of like comic arcs where Nightcrawler's like the absolute heart of the X-Men, where like he's the only thing that holds some of them together.
He's just he's just sweet kid. He's the glue, man. Really holds the team together, I would say. Anyways, my Nightcrawler prick was Drake Maverick. Maybe not a lot of people know who Drake Maverick is. He's a wrestler. Who'da thunk? and he's just kind of a short guy. He's British, but I'm sure he could do some. I'm Kurt Wagner, do some German somewhere in there.
So I thought you might have picked like
yeah.
somebody like that was like area code 619 or something, maybe. I don't know.
He's
Like
Mexican.
someone pretty
How
mysterious.
would that work? How would that work for Nightcrawler though? And he's like 50 years old.
He has a son, Dominic
Yeah,
Mysterio.
like 20-something years old. Well, now wait a second. Is that are we sure? Are we sure that's Rey Mysterio's son?
I don't
are
know.
we sure?
Eddie Guerrero laid claim to.
Eddie Guerrero.
What a great storyline, WWE. Man,
So glad we had that one in
destroying
there.
real people's families is good for TV. Thank you, Vince McMahon. My Wolverine pick.
I would Rey Mysterio be my Nightcrawler pick. Is that what? Sorry. Keep going.
I don't know because he's short and fast.
He is. You're not wrong. He is short and fast. But Drake Maverick, cruiserweight in and of himself. Go for it, Simeon.
My Wolverine pick. So when I think of Wolverine, I think of someone that's like ageless, someone that potentially immortal that could play this role for the next 50 years, and you'd never suspect that they had like even changed. So that was the one problem with good old Hugh Jackman, was you could tell that he was getting older as the films progressed, and it was at a rate that was not consistent with Wolverine. So I picked someone that I think history says, since the 1800s has not aged a day. There's portraits, there's a lot of proof to the immortality of this person. So
all right,
yes,
here we go.
Keanu Reeves of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure fame, and John Wick.
Oh, that's what. Okay, there we go.
Yes, the immortal man, sad Keanu, if you will. Wolverine's a very sad character. Yeah,
True.
I think he could pull it off. Truly, I don't think I would actually want him to play Wolverine, but I truly think that he could knock it out of the park if he did.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I would say so. That'd be good. All right, I went with switching it up, going to AEW now. There were plenty of Canadian wrestlers in the WWE. None of them, except for maybe Daniel Bryan a little bit, gave me a real Wolverine feel. And even then, I don't think Daniel Bryan's got the ruthlessness that we need for Wolverine. And Kevin Owens is just a little too. He could play Fulverine, maybe. That'd be Kevin Owens for sure. But John Silver, I think, would be perfect for Wolverine. If you guys don't know who John Silver is, he is hilarious. Look up like Best of John Silver, like on YouTube. Very short man, 5'4", beard, very, very stout, muscular dude. But he's got some hilarious videos, promos, and stuff that he's cut with AEW. But John Silver's got to be my Wolverine pick.
I mean, there's only one rabid Wolverine in wrestling, so I guess he's dead, so it doesn't matter. My Magneto
there it
pick is...
See, I was going to say that, but here we are. Here we are.
My Magneto pick, out of left field, I'm going with like this grizzled, angry old man who's got a voice like you poured sand into a leather sack and then put a leaf blower into that sack and blew it to make noise. It's Tom Waits. The beautiful, sultry towns of Tom Waits.
I don't know who Tom Waits is.
Oh, I'll play a clip for you later. It's dreamy weather. Yeah, he's been in a couple films. Seven Psychopaths, Wrist Cutters, a love story. He's been in a couple films. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. He plays like a gold miner, panner, whatever.
Oh, okay. Then I know. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who's like my nugget of gold, or like whatever.
It's Pocket. He's looking for the Mr. Pocket, the pocket of gold.
That's Tom Waits. Yeah. He's got that that very unique voice, and I think he could deliver a good Magneto. Maybe not like the right background as far as heritage wise.
Oh yeah. All right. My Magneto pick, we're gonna do some mental gymnastics to get these guys together. Personally, this is one of my favorite picks ever. So when you think about Magneto, you think about the struggles that he went through, and without trying to get into too many gritty details about Magneto's early childhood, let me just talk about a really good classic movie, and that would be Schindler's List. Not going to go into it anymore, but you know who else has a list? Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho would be a great Magneto. I really do.
Man, that makes me think like broken Matt Hardy now has to fit into this universe somewhere. If we're gonna put Jericho making his list on.
Yep, that's my pick. That's my pick for Magneto. Anyway, second part of the question is, how should they be introduced to the MCU? Simeon, how do you...
If I had full control of the MCU, if I was making and breaking decisions, I would not do the... So, like, my only two potentially, like, makes sense in universe kind of explanations is, one, they open a portal to, another dimension, and for some reason the X-Men decide to abandon their dimension and come to the MCU one. Doesn't make a ton of sense. The other option is, like, you introduce some sort of Terrigen Mist that happened in the pause with the snap, and people developed powers over that. Equally terrible, I will say, honestly, more terrible, because that completely retcons, like, the entire mutant thing. So I think the lesser of the two evils is somehow dragging them out of an alternate universe, or you potentially do a what's the name of it? The Mandela effect. Mandela effect? Yeah, the Mandela effect, where two universes got combined. One ate the other universe. Some of the things carried over. So you have like a movie, a short film. You have something that deals with like the Jonathan Hickman universes colliding kind of scenario. Except for whatever reason, like, they can't stop it. They collide, except like they just merge instead. And then you have like all these noticeable differences, and one of which is like, I don't know, let's say you have, well, it can't be Cap because he's off beat.
Right, old man.
Yeah, but like, let's say you have like Bucky or somebody like walking past like a window with TVs, because that's still a thing that's real in the real world. Definitely not just a plot-driven device.
Maybe.
Yeah, so like you have him walking by and like puts a confused look on his face, and like it like zooms in on the TV, and it's like anti-mutant protests like get out of hand or something, and he's like, mutants, and then like that's it. That's the entire explanation that they have. There's like a big flash of light. They see another Earth slowly colliding into theirs. There's a shimmer. The two Earths merge. And then you have some established MCU character look at a TV and see a news broadcast that doesn't make sense as far as the MCU we know. You don't need any more explanation than that. Don't make like a huge big deal out of it. We don't need any like Mysterio coming from alternate dimensions to save this one. That doesn't make sense. Terrigen Mist is awful. Don't do any of that. There's no Godzilla nuclear warheads transforming lizard people into mutants. None of that. Just do simple, quick, get it over with. We know it's not going to be good, but it might as well be fast and painless.
Yeah. My answer might just be kind of lame, I guess, but just introduce them. Like, who says the mutants had to have already been here all along? Like, why can't we just like in comics, right? Like, there were superheroes before the X-Men, and then the X-Men became a thing, and then there are superheroes after them. So just sort of like, same thing. People ask the same question, the Fantastic Four. don't have to write them in. They don't have to be full powered Fantastic Four right away. Origin stories suck, sure, whatever, but like just introduce them to the universe. Same thing. We're getting like Shang-Chi, the Eternals. People be like, well, why didn't they help beat Thanos? Purple Man bad. Why didn't they do that? Mutants. I'm like, well, because they didn't exist yet. Boom, easy. Make them young. Make them just not have realized their powers yet. It's pretty simple. I think it's pretty standard. Should be pretty easy to do. It's kind of hard. I would say for all superhero teams, it's pretty hard to organize mutants. They just sort of happen everywhere. They just sort of exist, Yeah. So like,
I saw a funny.
It's sort of like Professor X. He's kind of bad at it, so he just finally got them together now. Like,
there's
there you
a
go.
Twitter
It's pretty
post
easy.
that was like, being a bad guy, like an X-Men like villain, must be really hard.
Yeah.
When like there's just random new mutants every day, and you're like, oh god, what does the one with like 20 eyes do? Is he like able to see everything I do? Does he shoot lasers out of all of them like the other one? What does he do? Oh god. Like,
that would be pretty tough.
Yeah.
Claw Guy is there though all the time. Can't kill Claw Guy. Claw Guy is always there. Now the bald one's got mind powers, but this one's got a lot of hair and also has mind powers. Very inconsistent. Hard for me to figure out. What in the world? Yeah. Sure is a tough life being an X-Men villain, I guess. But yeah, those are all the listener questions for right now. Great questions. If you want to ask us questions, go ahead, send them into our Twitter, Dial H for Heroclix. It's the 4, not spelt out, just literally the number 4. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Dial H for Heroclix, all spelt out. If you want to send us a message there. If you are a Patreon member or just in our Discord, I don't know if I'll purge it after the tournament. Probably won't. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah, you can go ahead and ask questions in our Discord. And speaking of Patreon, if you want to hop on over there, we got some cool stickers coming up for this next month. We have awesome action tokens. If you want some tuning up the band action tokens, some generic howdy, let's get rowdy, Dial H action tokens, and some Lex Luthor 40 cakes, as well as I do these action tokens that are for the elemental converter that you can put on the edges of the map that show the map shrinking. If you're playing in real life, if you want cool stickers as well to put on your Clix box, we have some Extreme Rules style stickers, as well as just a Dial H for Heroclix podcast sticker. So you can represent the show. And obviously supporting us lets us get better equipment for the show, lets us do all sorts of fun, wacky stuff for YouTube. A lot of it does go into the YouTube. It's really fun. It's super fun to make YouTube videos, guys. I did promise that if we get up to $1,000 for the Patreon, we're at 100 right now, but if we get up to 1,000, I will build a wrestling ring. If we get up to 2,000 or more, we will make Extreme Rules 2 Hell in a Cell. So if we get up to those goals, guys, this is a promise. If we do genuinely get up to those goals, I will absolutely, the funds are there. I think we can make a wrestling ring for $1,000, I imagine. So I'm sure Simeon's neighbors would love that. And then Hell in a Cell is just chain link fence. We can do that for sure.
As long as it's on wheels and not a permanent structure, so I don't have to update my tax codings.
Right. You know what? Maybe we should just fly. You should just drive out to the ranch. I drive down there enough. Let's make you drive out to the ranch. Then we've got free land to do anything we want on. That'd be the easiest way to do it. Yeah. Well, if we get up to $2,000, Hell in a Cell will happen for Extreme Rules 2. And we'll like dump Heroclix out on the mat like they're thumbtacks, and we'll body slam each other into them. Put Simeon through a Heroclix table, hit him with a crossbody. I don't know, something. It'll be great. We'll Shane O'Mac jump off the top of Hell in a Cell into a pile of House of X bricks. We'll do all this and more if you go to patreon.com/Dial H for Heroclix, and just supporting the show is awesome. So we just appreciate everybody that supports the show. Before we go, though, make sure we do a quick Jedi Legend Heroclix tip of the week.
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Jedi Legend says, try the Bizarro method. Reverse stuff. Make it backwards. Run the dials from the end to the beginning. So you start right before the KO click. So whatever the last click would be, and then you turn it counterclockwise. And then that's how normal Bizarro goes. And then he adds a few other things that I've never used in Bizarro, but like makes sense. So super senses succeed on a 1 or 2. Crit hits are crit misses, and vice versa. So like that's pretty cool. And then this one is really interesting. Leadership removes a token from an opposing character instead. I wouldn't roll leadership, to be honest with you. That one's just not great. But yeah, like I like this Bizarro format. If you guys ever play Bizarro, I think it's a great way to shake up your local game scene. It makes you re-look at dials. There's tons of figures that have end-click effects that make them really cool or really good. So
yeah,
it just totally flips the scaling of the game, which is awesome. So definitely try the Bizarro format. It's super fun. I think it's a great tip for anyone looking to kind of spice up their Heroclix lives. Yeah, and that is all for the show.
There's definitely a few reverse dial figures that you want to like kind of ban, or at least make like explicit rules for the KC figures.
Sentry and Void definitely needs to be off there.
Yeah, Sentry Void, the KC figures where they come in on their last click if there's like a crit miss or crit hit or whatever.
Right.
You wouldn't want them to have their full dial for like 25 points or whatever. There's the uncommon Wolverine from Uncanny X-Men who has to be like one-shotted, otherwise he always comes back to click 7 or whatever it is. But yeah, there's a lot of solid figures that have a really cool like last click. But especially in today's day and age where you're allowed to look at the last click of like a figure, they just never hit it, especially if they don't have one of those like cool stop clicks or whatever. So reverse style or Bizarro rules is an awesome time to pull those figures out when you're like, hey, this guy is amazing on his last click, but I never get to have him on his last click. So like I really want that 12 for 5 Psychic Blast, whatever. It's just an awesome, and I mean you don't want to do it all the time, but it's an awesome like once or twice a year kind of scenario.
Definitely an easy like way to do it is just make it Modern Age. There's not as much broken, crazy last click stuff in Modern Age, but Golden Age is where it's really fun. You can play a bunch of What If Iron Mans for 40 points. Nuts. Love those guys. So yeah, no, Bizarro is a super fun game mode to play. And if you haven't played it before, play it and then send us in what you thought of Bizarro like game mode, because it's crazy fun. One more quick thing, guys, for the YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do unboxings, all sorts of cool jazz. The podcast is also there. But a show is coming to a close. Thursday Throwdown is going to have its final Golden Age episode. And then we're going to kind of decide what we need to do with Thursday Throwdown after that. But it's going to be a tiebreaker. So go to YouTube, the comment section of the last Thursday Throwdown. That's TMNT versus Star Trek. And comment your votes. This can also be done on our Discord, our Facebook, our Twitter. Just look for the post. But comment your votes for what you want us to use. This is the tiebreaker match to see who wins the last Thursday Throwdown Golden Age game. I am building out of the Thor Ragnarok movie set, and Simeon is building out of Undead. Let's try to get this to have the most votes we've ever had. This is it. This is for all the marbles. This is going to be the Thursday Throwdown king. Maybe we'll go back and see who won the most ages. It might even be tied for that too, honestly. So this is the big tiebreaker. This will be the last version of Thursday Throwdown. We'll probably still be uploading videos called Thursday Throwdown, but they're just going to be different. So this one is just this may be the last video you guys ever have a vote for. We might totally change the format up. You never know. So make sure your vote is heard, and vote for Simeon for Undead, and then Calder, me, is Thor Ragnarok movie. And that's all I have to say. All I got to say on the show.
Yeah, we might do a bracket format where you don't get a say in it. And if you want to, you can shoot us a email or a direct message on Facebook or Twitter or whatever to say whatever your suggestion is with Thursday Throwdown moving forward. Because, we're out of Golden Age. So, with the exception of a few gravity feeds that, let's just be honest, aren't really worth digging into as far as gameplay goes.
I'd rather not.
With the exception of those, it's kind of a toss-up as far as how we proceed with this. If we get enough suggestions one way or the other, it might change what we're going to do, but we've already got a few ideas in mind, so yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you've got a few ideas in mind, take those ideas, wrap them up, tightly pack them into a little ball, and then go to coolstuffinc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. From the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products, to board games, puzzles, dice, tokens, boxes to put those things in. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Happy trails.
The king of segways has not lost his
It was
touch.
all right. It was all right. I don't know. That was your best one. The pause. You had to think for a second there.
That's bad, yeah.